I am just back into my dark romance era. It's where I jive best. It's where I thrive best. Hey guys, what's up? It's Ashley. Welcome back to my channel, and I am here with my September reading wrap-up. So I kind of somewhat stuck to my TBR. I read a few things that I had planned on, but like always, Kindle Unlimited and just Hidden Gems kind of took over, and I found myself down quite a bully romance rabbit hole, which bully romances are always a yes for me. I read some pretty good books. I read, I think, 18 books this month, which is a step up from August, and I'm actually surprised that I did manage to read as many as I did for September, with it being the first month of school and just trying to get back into the groove of things. So without further ado, here are the 18 books that I read for the month of September. And then I finished the Throne of Glass series with Kingdom of Ash, and I absolutely love this book. I don't know if I mentioned or not in my August reading wrap up, but I really do think I enjoy this series more than ACOTAR. I think just for a fantasy plot, it's better. I just love it. Dorian and Manon are my absolute favorite characters in this series, especially Manon. Like, what a total badass. But I love this. I don't want to talk too much about this because if I mention anything in this book, it's literally spoilers for the entire series. So go pick up Throne of Glass if you have read ACOTAR and you want to jump into more Sarah J. Maas, because I promise you this will not disappoint. And part of a bunch of the books that I wanted to reread for my September TBR was Zodiac Academy. So this time I wanted to go back and start with the prequel because I didn't read that the first time. And so I believe that was called Origins of a Bully. And this one is in the POV of Lance and Darius. And you see how their bond and everything was formed, and just a few years before the twins come to Zodiac Academy. But this was a really quick read. I think it was just under 100 pages. I really liked it, and it just makes me so excited to jump back into this world. I did get a little bit into the tandem read for The Awakening, but because I'm physically reading those and annotating, it just takes me a lot longer, so I did kind of put that on pause for now. Once I pick this up, it's really hard to put it back down. You get sucked into quite a rabbit hole. And then I read Star Cursed by Elizabeth Briggs. This is the second book in the Zodiac Wolf series. I read the first one in August and I really enjoyed it. I believe this is a 4-book series, but this is about a group of werewolves. Obviously, each pack is based off the 12 zodiac signs. There is the 13th zodiac, like they're the outcasts. I really like this series. I will say they are a quick, fast read. The first book, you have, God, I can't even remember her name because this was so long ago, but your main character, she is the outcast of the Cancer Pack because her father had her outside of his marriage, and so she's just been kind of treated like crap her entire life. They end up going to this like mating ritual ceremony, whatever, for her to like release her wolf and find out who her mate is, and there she gets rejected by her mate, and then it just goes from there. The second book, I don't really want to talk about it because it's a lot of spoilers, but that is the like plot to get you sucked into the series, but it's really, really good for spooky season and this time of year. And then I read The Golden Boys and Never His Girl. I picked up this on my Kindle. These are like the first 2 books in a bully romance trilogy. I found this by scrolling TikTok. Very interesting. I will say it has a lot of Gossip Girl vibes, I will say, because there is this character or blog or something. It starts with a P. I can't remember what the name of it is, but I was totally reading it in Kristen Bell's voice. Like, I was reading it as Gossip Girl. But we have West and we have Blue as our 2 main characters, and West is like the hottest of his triplet brothers, and Blue is the new character, and she moves to this really prestigious rich school, and she is from the poor side of town, and by the time she gets to school, West absolutely hates her, and he makes it his mission to get her gone, and you find out why he does not want her there, and it's actually very interesting, and it takes you down quite these few twists and turns throughout the series, I will say. I also will say, though, by book 2, I was getting a little burned out and a little bored because the couple was already together at this point, and it was just kind of drama going on with things surrounding them. I will eventually go to book 3 just to see how it ends, because otherwise that's just the OCD in me that's going to bother me. But for a bully romance, it was pretty solid. And then I read The Ruthless Note and The Broken Note. These are the sequel books after The Darkest Note. This is another bully romance trilogy. I read The Darkest Note, I think, back in December, and I really enjoyed it, and I really don't know why it took me so long to finally finish the trilogy, because I really do like how it finished. But this is, once again, like I said, a bully romance, and this is set in high school at a prestigious like music academy or something like that. And for book 1, what ends up happening is our main character, New Girl, once again, she is new to the school, and our guy, he doesn't want her there. So he bullies her to try to make her leave. Now, the reason he does not want her there is because prior to book 1 starting, his best friend was kicked out of the school, and he wants him to come back, but the new girl took his spot. And because this is such a small, prestigious music academy, there's only so many spots for students. And so he's trying to make her leave so his best friend can come back. He is also the lead in his band, and she has musical talent, but she has stage fright. And so when the story starts for book 1, she uses a secret identity, like with a wig and stuff, some kind of tip her teacher gave her to get over stage fright. And our main guy, he actually falls in love with her alter ego. And so there's a lot of this going on. Book 1 ends in a cliffhanger, and book 2, we pick up right where it left off. But I really did like where this trilogy went. It does have a 4th book. It goes for one of the brothers next. I don't know if I'll read it. It's a reverse age gap with a teacher, so I don't know how that'll be. We'll see, but I did really like this trilogy overall. And then I reread Corrupt and Hideaway by Penelope Douglas. I decided to audiobook these this time because it was my 3rd time reading, and I needed some audiobooks for the month, so I just decided to go for it. I will say, if this is your first time reading the series, physically read it, because I wasn't the biggest fan of the narrators for the audiobooks, but that's just a me thing. I am very, very picky and particular with my audiobooks, just because I'm not the biggest audiobook person in general. But overall, once again, I love this series. I am ready to dive into Kill Switch, so I'm really not going to talk really much about these 2 books. If you want more information on them, I talk about them in a lot of other videos, and a lot of other people do too, but Devil's Night is the perfect series for this time of year, so if you have not read it yet, go check it out. Finished up the Royal Elite series. I had read the first 3 books for Aiden and Elsa in January of 2022, and I don't know why it took me so long to finally jump back in, but like I said, I was kind of on a bully romance kick, and I decided, hey, let's just go for it. So the 4th book is Black Knight, and this is going to be Xander and Kim's story, and I think this was my favorite out of the ones I read because Kim is plus size, and so it just kind of gave this a different dynamic. They were childhood friends, and then Xander found out some information, and then he was kind of forced to keep his distance from Kim, so he bullied her to try to keep her away. She just couldn't stay away, so it results in their romance. I really did enjoy this. Book 5 is going to be Vicious Prince, and this is going to follow Roman and Teal. And Teal is Elsa's foster sister, and Roman is one of Aiden's friends. I really liked this one. I don't remember a lot about this one, but I do remember liking it a lot because I think Roman was like half French, half British royalty, something like that. So I really liked that aspect to it. I will also say I do like the twist that you find out that kind of trauma bonds these 2 together, because they both have very dark pasts, and there is a twist that connects them, and I just found that very, very interesting. And then the next book, Ruthless Empire, follows Cole and Silver, and I really loved the twist in this one. This one has a 3rd point of view called the Doll Master, and you don't know who this is, but it's basically this person that's been obsessed with Silver for a really long time, and when you find out who it is, basically I really never saw that coming. So really great Rena Kent twist. And then I did read the epilogue. I think it was just called the Royal Elite Epilogue, but basically it was a nice summary of all of the couples. And I did want to read it because for October I am reading God of Malice and the Next Generation. So It was just fun to wrap up this series, but I did really enjoy it, and I will say I did become quite obsessed with the Found Family. And then for the Chaotic Mess Book Club pick, we did Divine Rivals, and I decided to do my physical Fairy Loot edition because this was just so pretty, and I have to say, bravo to Fairy Loot. Bravo to Fairy Loot. I know I haven't been too happy with them in the last year. Like, I've been honestly kind of debating keeping my subscription, but this book right here, I'm glad I have it. So if you have not read this book, I will suggest go into this blind because I didn't know a lot about it. In fact, a lot of my thoughts, what I thought the tropes were, I was completely wrong. I will say I thought this was historical fiction. It is not. It is a fantasy, but it is set in this World War II-esque era where you're dealing with gods instead of Nazis. I feel like that's the best way to describe this world. But our two main characters, they both work at the same newspaper and they are competing for the same job. So I really liked the setup to this. It does end in a cliffhanger and book 2 does come out in December, but we did talk about this in our live show, so that is on my channel if you want to go find that, but I did really enjoy this one. And then I read the Faking It trilogy by Chloe Walsh. This is a trilogy that covers the same couple. It is a high school romance set between our female main character and her brother's best friend. This is also going to have fake dating in it. So basically, this is also going to be forbidden romance as our female main character's parents and her brother do not want her with this guy at all. This is her brother's best friend, but if I remember correctly, I think she was the mayor's daughter or the senator's daughter, something like that, and he lives on the poor side of town in a trailer park and is just not what her family wants for her. They're very, very controlling, and her brother, when the story starts, he gets this idea for the two of them to fake date just so other guys will stay away from her and his best friend's crazy ex will also stay away from him. But obviously the fake dating is going to lead to emotions and all of that. But I did enjoy this. It was a very quick, easy trilogy to binge. I binged it all in one Saturday. But if you want some fake dating and brother's best friend, this was a nice one. And then the last thing I read for September was Something Rad by Nikki Witt. This is Nikki from Nikki's Book Nook. We have just connected in the last several years and we text a lot and we have a lot of the same similar book taste and opinions. And when she told me last year that she was writing a 1980s romance, I was like, yes, give me all your teasers, like keep sending me stuff. So she did give me some teasers. I did get to see the cover before a lot of other people did, and when she sent it to me, I was like, yes, this just screams 1980s. And I will say I did plan on reading this earlier in the summer because I did have her send it to me for my birthday. She did sign it, and I kind of got into a slump and I decided to set it aside for the moment, and I'm really glad I did because when I looked at the cover again, I was like, you know what, this screams back to school. September is totally back to school, and this was 1,000% a back to school book. So I will say this does span the entire senior year, but a big chunk is the setup to the beginning of the school. So I am going to talk about the book now because I've been rambling about the intro for a while. But okay, now to talk about the plot of the book. So we have our two main characters, Robbie and Sarah, and they are both from two very different social circles. Robbie is the hot star basketball player and Sarah is the quiet girl who keeps to herself and is working very hard for a scholarship to college. Robbie is the goofball. He has no future plans. He's just kind of going day to day. And at the beginning of the story, his girlfriend that he is so in love with breaks up with him because he has no goals, future, any of that planned. Robbie ends up in detention through a series of events, working in the library where Sarah works to volunteer, and the two of them decide to fake date because Sarah wants to become class president because it'll help her into getting her scholarship, and Robbie wants to be taken seriously, and so he thinks if he fake dates Sarah, it'll show his ex-girlfriend that he actually wants to be serious. So obviously this is a fake dating book, so more things happen. This is quite a thick bad boy, but Nikki obviously put her heart and soul in this, and this was really good. There are a ton of 1980s references in here. This was a good, fun time, and if you are looking for some good fake dating with a little 1980s spin on it, this was really good, and it is also available on KU. Okay, so that will do it for all of the books that I read in September. I am happy to say that my horrible slump at the end of the summer is finally gone. I am just back into my dark romance era. It's where I jive best. It's where I thrive best. Just, yeah. So I am going to have a ton of books to talk about for October. I am already sticking to my TBR so well and also finding new gems out of that. So yeah, I'm also going to have some more recommendation videos coming. I have a lot of new dark romances to talk about. Just so much exciting things for the month of October. But as always, don't forget to hit like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!